We all wish it wasn't necessary. But the truth is, you will encounter people who hurt others for no reason. Not because they're in pain, not because they're broken and trying to heal, but because they enjoy control. Because they're driven by power and fed by confusion. There's a big difference between someone who makes mistakes because they're wounded and someone who weaponizes kindness to gain access to your heart so they can break it from the inside. And the worst part, they rarely look dangerous. They don't wear dark capes or carry warning signs. Sometimes, they smile the brightest, speak the softest, offer you their help, only to use it as leverage later. This is the terrifying reality. Evil doesn't always scream. Sometimes, it whispers. It hides behind politeness, behind just joking, behind concern that feels genuine until it turns against you. It can be the friend who subtly drains your energy, the coworker who smiles in public but poisons in private, even the family member who constantly makes you doubt your own reality. They don't need a reason to strike. They don't wait for conflict to start. Their weapon is confusion, and their goal is control. But here's the good news. They leave clues, patterns, red flags. And if you learn to see them early, you can protect your mind, your peace, and your path. This video will break down 7 signs that reveal deep manipulation, not just toxic behavior, but the kind of calculated malice that Stoic philosophy teaches us to guard against. So, take a deep breath, look closer, and let's begin, before it's too late. It starts with something small. You remember what was said, how it made you feel. But when you bring it up, they smile and say you're being dramatic. That's not what I meant. You're reading too much into it. You always overreact. You pose. You rewind the conversation in your mind, and for a moment you question yourself. That's how it begins. This is gaslighting, not just a lie, but a systematic attack on your perception. They don't want to win an argument. They want to make you doubt your memory, your emotions, your truth. You start apologizing, even when you're not sure what you did wrong. You walk on eggshells, because no matter how you speak, you're always too much, or not enough. You shrink, slowly, quietly, until you're unsure where you end and their version of you begins. Here's the key. They know what they're doing. Gaslighting isn't confusion, it's control. Because when you can't trust your own mind, you start relying on theirs. And that is exactly where they want you. So how do you fight back? You don't. You stop fighting their version and start standing in yours. You pause, you breathe, and you ask yourself, am I adjusting to reality or to their fiction? Stoicism reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You don't need to prove your memory. You don't need to argue your emotions. You just need to stay grounded in your truth and recognize when someone is trying to erase it. If someone constantly tells you that your feelings don't matter, that your version of events is always wrong, that you are the problem, then step back. Not to run, but to protect your clarity. Because once they have your mind, they don't need to raise their voice. You'll do the silencing for them. But not anymore. You know what's real, and you don't need their permission to believe it. You trusted them. Not with just anything, but with the parts of you that felt fragile, private, still healing. You shared your fears, your losses, the chapters you didn't let everyone read. And they listened, they nodded, they seemed to care, until one day they didn't. One day, they used your story against you. Not in anger, not in a fight, but casually, sharply, at the moment it would hurt most. No wonder that happened to you. You're always like this, weak. Suddenly, your pain became their ammunition. What once felt safe now feels like evidence in a case built to make you feel small. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's a deliberate betrayal. Because kind people hold your wounds like something sacred. Toxic people, they study them and wait for the day they can use your truth to silence you, to shame you, to own you. This is what makes it so cruel. It's not just emotional manipulation, it's spiritual theft. They didn't just hurt you, they took something offered in trust and turned it into a knife. But here's what Stoicism reminds us: your story is sacred. Not everyone deserves access. You don't have to stop being vulnerable. You just have to become selective. Before you open your soul, ask yourself, has this person shown me they can carry what I'm about to give? If the answer is no, hold it back. Not out of fear, out of wisdom. And if they've already used your past against you, withdraw. No explanation, no drama, just distance. Because protecting your vulnerability is not weakness. It's a form of inner discipline. The right people will guard what you reveal. The wrong ones will exploit it. Know the difference. And never apologize for protecting your peace. There's a difference between a lie and a strategy. Some people lie to avoid consequences, to cover a moment, to fix a mistake. But others, they lie as a way of life. Not because they're cornered, but because they're in control. To them, the truth is flexible, malleable, a tool. One day they say one thing, the next, it shifts. You bring it up, they act like it never happened. That's not what I said. You misunderstood. Don't twist my words. But it's not you who's twisting, it's them. This is the tactic, shift and blur. They shift the timeline, blur the details, move the goalposts just enough to keep you confused and quietly questioning yourself. You think it's miscommunication. It's not. It's design. The goal isn't clarity. It's control. Because if they can keep you doubting, if they can rewrite the story just slightly every time, then one day you'll stop trusting your own memory and start relying on theirs. That's the danger. Not just the lies, but the slow erosion of your internal compass. You become dependent, not on facts, but on their version of what really happened. So what do? You don't chase their lies. You don't collect receipts. You don't try to win a debate they'll never admit losing. You simply say, I see what's happening. I no longer believe you. And that's enough. You don't need a confession to walk away. You don't need evidence to trust your instinct. Stoicism teaches us you have power over your mind, not over others' words. Realize this, and no one can deceive you for long. You don't owe them confrontation, but you owe yourself clarity. So when you see the shifts, the blurs, the quiet edits to history, don't argue, don't panic. Just step back. And remember, a liar's greatest weapon is your willingness to stay confused. You don't have to play along. You just have to see clearly and act accordingly. Some people don't just stumble into conflict. They depend on it. They feed off it. They manufacture it. Just to feel alive. You've seen them before. They walk into a peaceful room, and within minutes, the air feels different. Tense. Uneasy. Sharp. A joke with just enough edge. A comment that's honest but designed to wound. A casual observation that lands like a landmine. Then they sit back, smile slightly, and watch the explosion. Why? Because when there's no chaos, they disappear. Peace feels like irrelevance. Stillness feels like death. So they stir the waters just to see the ripples. This is attention addiction. Not the kind that wants praise, the kind that craves reaction. If they can't be admired, they'll settle for being feared. If they can't be respected, they'll provoke, push, poke until someone breaks. And when that happens, they step into the role of the misunderstood one, the truth teller, the victim. I was just being real. I can't help it if people can't handle me. I guess honesty isn't welcome anymore. No, what isn't welcome is manipulation disguised as authenticity. Here's what you must understand. They don't want resolution. They want relevance. And if peace threatens that, they'll burn peace to the ground. So how do you deal with someone who lives off drama, not by confronting them, not by matching their fire? That's exactly what they want. Instead, remember the Stoic approach. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the refusal to be pulled into one. Let them swirl. Let them stir. Let them throw sparks. You stay still. You observe. You don't engage. And when it's time, you exit. Silently, cleanly, without performance. Because the goal isn't to teach them a lesson, it's to protect your own nervous system. They thrive on your reaction. Starve them of it. Don't explain. Don't defend. Don't try to outsmart them. Just choose distance without guilt. Because someone who needs chaos to matter isn't someone who deserves access to your peace. And the moment you stop reacting, you reclaim your power. There's a type of person who wears pain like armor, not to protect themselves, but to disarm you. They're never the cause, only the casualty. Every story they tell, they're the one left behind. The one who gave too much. The one nobody ever understood. At first, it sounds sincere. You feel for them. You want to help. But over time, you notice something. The story never changes. Only the names. Different jobs. Different friends. Different seasons of life. But somehow, the exact same drama. And no matter how much support you offer, they never take real steps forward. They don't want change. They want an audience. This is emotional manipulation wrapped in tragedy. They turn pity into a leash. And before you realize it, you're holding their burdens, carrying their guilt, living inside their storm. You become the therapist, the fixer, the emotional sponge, until one day you set a boundary. You pull back, and suddenly you're selfish. You don't care about anyone but yourself. But here's the truth. They don't want help. They want your energy. They want you to feel responsible for the weight they refuse to lift. So how do you recognize this? Watch the pattern. They tell sad stories, but take no action. No accountability. No real change. Just rehearsed suffering on loop. And here's the Stoic insight. Pity becomes manipulation when there's no accountability. Empathy is powerful, but when given without wisdom, it becomes fuel for dysfunction. You are allowed to care without carrying, to feel without fixing. I see your pain, but I am not responsible for your healing. That's not cold. That's clarity. Because compassion does not require submission. It requires discernment. So next time someone pulls you into their storm, ask yourself, are they seeking support, or are they seeking control through sympathy? Then step back. Reclaim your boundaries, and remember, your kindness is a gift, not a contract. Don't let it be used to keep someone stuck who never intended to grow. You work hard. You give your best. You do something worth celebrating, and you bring it to someone you trust, only to hear this. That's nice. But anyone could have done it. Or worse, you could have done better. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's subtle, but it cuts deeper than you expect. Because it doesn't just dismiss your effort, it erases your pride. This is no accident. It's not just their personality, it's a tactic. They don't criticize to help you grow. They criticize to keep you dependent on their approval, which, of course, never comes. Every time you reach for validation, they pull it back, just far enough to keep you chasing it, never enough to let you rest in your worth. This is emotional control through scarcity, a psychological tactic known as self-esteem supply. They position themselves as the judge of your value, and by constantly shifting the standard, they ensure you'll never quite meet it. That way, you keep trying harder, giving more, apologizing for being proud just to hear something positive from them. But it doesn't come. And it never will, because their goal isn't to see you rise. It's to keep you reaching for a hand that never truly lifts you. But here's what Stoicism teaches. You don't need permission to be proud of your own work. You don't need applause to know you've grown. You don't need recognition to make your effort meaningful. So the next time someone shrugs at your progress or downplays your joy, pause. Don't explain. Don't beg for credit. Just smile. Stand firm and say, if only to yourself, what I did mattered. Even if you can't see it, I do. Because your accomplishments don't become real when someone else approves. They become real when you refuse to let them be diminished. So, protect your confidence. Celebrate your wins. And stop waiting for someone who only knows how to withhold. You've earned more than their silence, and you don't need their praise to claim your progress. You open up. You share something raw. A loss, a fear, a moment that left you broken. And the response, not silence out of reverence, but silence out of disinterest. They change the subject. Or worse, they turn it back on you. You think that's bad? Let me tell you what happened to me. We all go through things. You just need to toughen up. And in that moment, you feel it. The shift, the wall, the void where understanding should be. This isn't emotional immaturity. This is something colder. They heard your pain. They just didn't care. And that's the part that stings, because deep down, you wanted to believe they didn't get it, that maybe they missed your tone, misread your eyes, but they didn't. They saw your vulnerability and chose to ignore it, because it didn't serve them. To someone like this, your emotions are inconvenient. Your struggles interrupt the narrative where they are the main character, and empathy. It takes effort they refuse to give. Why? Because they don't see you as a person to care about. They see you as a tool, something to use, benefit from, and discard when inconvenient. So how do you deal with someone who shows you no empathy? You stop making excuses. You stop explaining your pain, hoping they'll wake up. You stop mistaking your silence for strength and theirs for power. Here's the Stoic truth. When you are not seen, it's not your fault. It's their blindness. And their blindness, that's not yours to fix. You don't need to harden, but you do need to withdraw, not to punish them, but to protect yourself. Because your feelings deserve acknowledgement. Your voice deserves presence. Your story deserves care. And if someone can't sit with you in your sorrow, they don't deserve to stand beside you in your light. So next time you feel invisible, don't shout to be heard. Stand up, walk away, and know this: your heart is not too much. Their capacity is too small. Here's the truth. No one wants to admit you saw the signs. Maybe not all at once, but you felt them. The way they twisted your words, the way your vulnerability became a weapon, the way they lied effortlessly, stirred chaos silently, played victim convincingly, shrank your worth consistently, and ignored your pain without flinching. You weren't overreacting. You were waking up. This wasn't love. It wasn't friendship. It wasn't respect. It was control, wrapped in charm, delivered in silence, and sustained by your self-doubt. But now you see it. And once you see it, you don't owe anyone your presence. You don't have to argue. You don't have to fix them. You don't need their permission to leave. See it, name it, step away, without guilt. Because protecting yourself isn't cruelty, it's clarity. They don't need to explode to be dangerous. Some destroy you slowly, with smiles and silence. But now, you choose peace. Not the kind they offer, the kind you create by walking away. Not every enemy raises their voice. Some just lower your standards, quietly, day by day. So here's the Stoic closure. Anyone who makes you question your worth doesn't belong in your future. You don't need a final conversation. You don't need closure from someone who benefits from your confusion. You just need to choose yourself, fully, finally, without apology. Let's close with this. Comment below, which red flag did you miss, and what finally helped you walk away? Like if this video gave you the clarity you've been needing. Subscribe to keep learning how to protect your boundaries, rebuild your mind, and lead with calm. Quiet strength, the Stoic way. Because peace isn't something you beg for. It's something you protect. And now, you're ready.